Welcome back to Sunrise Debate. Mr. Hamba, so how does this, or how do you respond to those groups of people who just feel that, well, look, if this is going to be called the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria bill, we are in that chain, so we feel that, no, it shouldn't be called that. So how do you respond to that?
Well, I don't know why people should say it should not be called that. If you're practicing journalism, if we're talking about journalism, and you have different subsets, including people who are photojournalists and all, they're all subsets of journalism. So in pharmacy, there's a chain. In medicine, there's a chain. In architecture, there's a chain. In every profession, you have subsets. And therefore, you can't, because you have subsets, you look for another definition. So this is why pharmacy law is the one that covers everybody in the chain and brings all under regulation. Because government itself, you can see that the president has been setting up committees. He has Maruwa's committee. He has other presidential committees on drug abuse. It's an issue for government. The president is very much concerned that we are arrested because he has seen the damage that is being visited on young people. Because drugs that were regarded as normal, ordinary drugs, have now become subject for abuse. And that is why this pharmacy law gives power, creates opportunity for additional resources for the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria. They have the responsibility to regulate the practice. Right now, the way it's structured, they don't have the resources, they don't have the power to be able to properly put a check. And that's why someone like Brigadier General Maruwa is supporting this PCN law with all his heart. They understand that it's an important instrument to deal with the issue. The NDL law is already dealing with those drugs we knew as narcotics, heroin, cocaine, but tramadol, codeine, and many other drugs that are normal standard drugs, and many more that will be in future, have become elements of abuse, likely due to lax control.
Whether or not, with or without the law, people still find a way to have access to many of these medications, whichever way you look at it, all over Nigeria, even communities where it was hardly ever talked about that people would have access to these kinds of drugs. So how does this drug, how does this law, how does it address the issue of access to the
you see, there are two issues to what we are facing. One is a psychosocial economic issue. What is driving the behavior that people are wanting to abuse everything? Because if you read the story of the evolution of abuse in the country and substance abuse, they are going beyond what you call even the normal drugs that you know. So that's another factor, which psychologists and economic analysts will be what's driving our behavior. But secondly is that the way to stop miscreants for accessing what they should not have. Nigeria, everybody is buying AK-47. Why are they buying AK-47? It's because of lack of control. So that's the issue. We must put people to hold. That's what the law does.
My apologies. Let me get your views on this. What would you pinpoint as the major difference between the two laws?
The two laws. Yes, like my president rightly said, the first law talks about pharmacist law. But the current one says pharmacy. So there's a difference between pharmacy and pharmacist. The practitioner is a pharmacist. The practice, the profession is pharmacy. And inside the pharmacy, you have different players. From the manufacturer as being enumerated, to the distributor, to wholesaler, to my group, the community pharmacy, which is the closest now to the people, and the stopgap, which is the Peter Merson vendors. So, of course, they are stopgap because just like my president said, today we have less than 10,000 community pharmacies in Nigeria to serve 201 million Nigerians.
But we have more patent medicine?
Yeah, we have more because the reason why we have more was actually because of no law. And that's exactly because there has been law to regulate pharmacies, the pharmacy setup. But in the past, there's no law. And the way the patent medicine now use the opportunity to sprang up. The different ministers that have come at a point give the authority to issue license to patent medicine to local government. And people were selling it.
The minister did that?
Yeah.
In the previous past.
Because that was the power.
That was the power they have. And that is what one of the things this law is trying to address.
Yes, address.
Now the power is being centralized.
Yes.
So, and that is why it's been said now, General Buamara came up to say that the people who are killing our people, who are behind this drug abuse issue, are these unregistered. Today we have close to 900,000 drugs in Nigeria, but there are just about 58 of them registered, being controlled. Why? Because the previous law do not automatically place them where they belong. So it's like just, creating a chaotic situation. And that is the reason why the difference between the former law and the current law. So with the current law now, everybody is brought together. Everybody is regulated together. Everybody is controlled together by the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria.
But this patent and proprietary medicine dealers, the association is kicking against some of, in fact, they think that, well, the powers to issue licenses is that of the president, which is sublet to the minister of health. So why will the PCN come again and begin to license? I remember, I think in one of the sessions in the National Assembly, they walked out.
Yeah, that is the reason. That is exactly what he said. Every group that does not fall to proper regulation will abuse its opportunity. As at now, because of the evolution of the private property, at some time it was left to the minister, at some time it was given to local government, and anything you give to local government, they've turned it into a revenue opportunity. And when you create revenue opportunity for controlled things like medicine, some people don't even have school cert, some people don't have proper education, you tell them to start selling medicine. And not only because they are selling the medicine, because nobody regulates them, they go beyond their remit. Better medicines dealers have a list of products, over-the-counter medications that are regarded as generally safe. That's what they are to sell. But because of poor regulation, they are now going beyond their remit and mandate. And this is why anybody can buy anything and use it in the way they cannot handle. So this is the issue. People don't like regulation naturally. If you can do what you like and people now want to put you in check, the natural thing is to resist. But it's not about them. It's about the safety of the Nigerian. You need to know how many Nigerian children and youths are being rendered useless by drug abuse. But when you're talking abuse, there's the misuse side of it.
You're also aware as we have the proliferation of light weapons within the West African sub-region.
Sure.
We also have the proliferation of drugs.
Yes.
Also, how do you contain and address the issues in Idumota?
Yeah.
In Sabongari, in Zaria. In Kano, in Sabongari, also in
Aba.
There are just so much.
Very good.
The numbers are just...
Yeah.
How do you stop... Will this new regulation...
Yes.
Will it stop, for instance, the proliferations of drugs into Nigeria?
Exactly. You've given us the solution. You've hit the nail. The new law allows those markets to be actually closed.
Leather.
It will be closed because government has decided to provide what they call controlled coordinated wholesale centers.
Where these people move
You see, those markets are unregulated markets because they don't conform to any rule. Effort by NAFDAC, effort by PCN to regulate them has not been successful. So government now said, let's redesign new controlled wholesale, coordinated wholesale centers so that entrance to that center will be regulated, exit will be regulated. PCN NAFDAC will be in that center so that they maintain the integrity of the products that come there and who buys drugs. If you come to that market, you must show evidence why you must be here. Are you a pharmacist? Then you can buy drugs the pharmacist can buy. Are you a better medicine dealer? You can only buy the medicine. So we start the control from there before we get so when those markets, it is this law that gives power to get those markets.
You have a data bank.
Yes.
Mr. Adekola, you have a data bank for the pharmacists that are genuine as to maybe ones that are not genuine, such that you're able to decipher who is a true
pharmacist.
Oh, the council has it.
The council has it.
The council.
Everybody has it. Also, practitioners have the yearly registration with their numbers.
Bringing me to the issue that I wanted to ask you, Mr. Adekola. You are on top of the community pharmacists.
Thank you.
Let's talk to those, people. How many people in those rural communities, okay, let me talk about rural communities, the hinterlands, now can really afford the services of professional pharmacists?
Oh my God, this is an error. Accessing services is relative. Because the truth about it is that the fact that your pharmacist does not say that you're expensive. No. What it
but
says...
that's the practice,
no,
that's the experience of many people.
No,
I'm sure
it
it's
is
something
not. People, what they go to buy in some other places are fake and substandard. So you can sell it for anything, or even people who are labeling, relabeling expired product. So you can sell anything. This is the truth. And the point is that, just like my president said, right, earlier said about the coordinator center, the truth about it is that I am happy to say that all the stakeholders are bought into it. And to that extent, even people in the open drug market, today, they are willing to move to that place. So they are ready to submit themselves. It's not about shutting them out of business, but bringing them to a place where they can be regulated, where they can be monitored.
No, let's
now,
talk about that.
On this, I'm coming there. I'm
Yes.
coming there. I just felt that this is very important. I mean, to see now the issue of the hinterlands you talk about. Inside the same law, there is a section that talks about satellite pharmacy, and which is making pharmacy that are not directly, that don't really have a pharmacist to be supervised by a community pharmacist or a pharmacist in the environment, just like you have the comprehensive health center. In every local government today, there's a coordinator. We call them PHC coordinators, a doctor. In that local government, you can have as much as thousands of PHCs. In fact, per ward, there's a PHC. So, but the truth about it is that there is no medical doctor there. Yes, people are still serving services, but there is a coordination from a center who supervises, who monitors. The same thing is being created inside this law.
Okay, because
yes.
If I could just read some of the quotes from those NAPEMD,
yes.
They say that it is a misgiven that the society doesn't want to be regulated or controlled. They say it is a wrong notion. We want to be regulated, quoting them now, by the federal government, which we are under.
Okay.
But who to regulate us is the bone of contention, which we say should be the Ministry of Health, and that is what we want from the government and not the PCN.
The Ministry of Health is like, I want to be regulated. I don't want the government to regulate me. Or I don't want the police to regulate. I want the government to regulate me. Who is police? Who is government?
Who's government?
Pharmacist Council of Nigeria is an agency of the federal government and of Federal Minister of Health. It reports to Federal Minister of Health. Minister of Health cannot regulate by the minister going around checking. It has to have establishments, primary health care. It has different departments that carry out its purposes. NAFDAC, you can say you want to be regulated by government, you don't want to be regulated by NAFDAC. That's defeating the purpose. If you are doing a genuine business, Oga, you don't worry about who regulates you. The important is that there are standards. Do you have your license? Are you trained? Are you qualified? Do you have the right structure in your place? Is it air
But if you don't have a qualified regulator, they can run down and put you or even get your business closed.
Yeah, but we have proper regulator.
Okay, so if this law was that good, why hasn't it been signed?
Well, the issue is this. There's a process. The National Assembly started to work on this law in 2016. In 2017, they passed the law, the two houses. And you know what it takes to take a law. And it's an executive law. It's an executive bill. It wasn't pharmacists who took it. Bill. It's executive, the government. Then it came to the president late 2017. Sometime last year, the president now sent the law to Ministry of Health and I think Education to comment before he signs. And they have made the comment last July and sent back to the president. But I guess that because the president has been quite busy. He's been busy, and then the elections and all that. That, for me, I believe is the reason he hasn't been able to sign it. But I believe he wants to sign it before the end of his term, because it is, first of all, an executive bill started by government. And secondly, it's a bill that touches the heart of what the government wants to achieve, especially the president in handling and taking care of drug abuse and drug misuse at the current time. So it wasn't started by pharmacists, but we agree and support it because we know that beyond being pharmacists, we're also people of Nigeria. We're nationalists. And we don't want our country to have a situation where we have a high mortality rate, high mobility rate, because medicines that are supposed to save are now causing damage. And we as custodians cannot fold our hands and say it's okay. And we know what is the source. The source is lax control and access.
If you look at this bill under the functions and powers of the council, where they talk about, yes, regulating the standard of pharmacy practice and business in Nigeria. And then they also talked about determining and set standards for degree courses in faculties of pharmacy in Nigerian universities and several other functions. Isn't this going beyond just ensuring that you regulate the industry and then setting standards for education and schools?
PCN is a regulator. It regulates education. Because if you don't have the right education, just like I think you said, now, if you don't have the right regulator, how would it regulate you? So they set qualifications for the kind of standard of education you should have to be a pharmacist and to practice pharmacy in its sub-cadres, including pharmacy technicians. That's the job of PCN. And all over the world is the same. If you go to the United Kingdom, you go to the United States, they have a regulatory agency that regulates education. MDCAN is the MDCN is the one that regulates education of medical doctors. And you have so for other cadres within the healthcare and elsewhere else. So the job of PCN is regulation of education and the practice of the profession. So another
challenge, still, paying attention to the education bit of this bill is that of the younger generation.
Yeah.
How much education does your societies or associations give to both the people who benefit from your services, but more importantly, the much younger generation who don't even know who a pharmacist is?
Well, thank you very much, which is an opportunity. I want to say that, let me quickly allude to one of the things we had about 2 weeks ago when we started this whole agitation about the pharmacy bill. Well, we were talking in Abuja. I remember one of you guys said, who are community pharmacists? So if you press as much as that doesn't even know us, then it's a problem. And that is the truth. It's because over the time, this system in Nigeria are such that allow for illegality to take place before you can set up a pharmacy and you have a pharmacist there. It takes a long process. I mean, by way of following regulation. But all of a sudden, you just wake up this morning. By the time you are coming back in the evening, you have seen a place.
But you just have a licensed pharmacies in house.
We have.
In most cases.
We have. Well, just that today, Nigeria has produced, in Nigeria, even people outside, we have over 30,000 pharmacies. But because there's no practice environment, it's not regulated, there's no thriving environment to people to appreciate their. Let me tell you, in developed world, in America, in UK, in year 2000, it became community pharmacy become the first, the number one professional, trusted. And people are assessing. Today in America, people want to go to community pharmacies and take their fluid vaccine, rather than go to hospital, because they have come to appreciate it. And this is why there is a need, and it is you that will also help us to tell the world that, tell Nigerians that get your medicine from a registered pharmacist.
We'll come back to this in just a moment. Join us again.
Thank you.
Welcome back. It's our concluding moments now. You're going to make a point before
I said first that, the truth is that this is one law that I believe that addresses almost all the issues we have. The law has been developed with experience, borrowing from practicing pharmacy over many years. So it came to deal with those issues. So it deals with the local people in the locality, in the rural areas that may not have access to direct pharmaceutical care as is provided in urban areas. And the law provides. That's why it makes provision for some people in the PPAVL. Then there's also this issue of satellite pharmacy. They didn't exist before. So that is a response to that need, so that people in the town can get some level of pharmaceutical care that is comparable to what they get in the city. About training and information sharing, beyond the provision by PCN in terms of young pharmacists who come out of school, they go through a period of training so as to have practical understanding of what they're going to practice before they are set free. You know, during the internship period, they are under apprenticeship, you would like to say, supervision by qualified pharmacy in the different aspects of pharmacy, is it industrial, hospital, academic, or community. Then I also believe that this law now brings everybody under one supervision, because if everybody's under one supervision, there is harmonization, there is ability to leverage and optimize, so that we don't duplicate things in terms of resource availability and utilization. So I think this is why government, in its wisdom, decided to bring this law. And I think that, as I believe, the reason why it hadn't been signed was that the president had been quite busy with too many things. And the awareness that we're creating in this discussion is to bring it to his attention and the attention of people that work with him. I know that the Minister of Health is on this law. I know that General Marwa is on this law.
But if you were to scale this, how will it be on a scale of 1 to 10, for instance? Do we have more adulterated products in our markets today than genuine ones?
No.
There are more genuine. The percentage is somewhere around 15 to 16% of what they call falsified medicines in the market. There was a time it was much higher before NAFDAC. Since NAFDAC came, there has been a continuous. And the work you're all doing and everybody is doing, creating greater awareness, and pharmacists drawing attention that you must go to pharmacies to obtain. We've introduced some technologies where you check, the consumer can check whether what he's buying is fake through technology. This has helped to discourage falsified medicines.
So then, Mr. Adekola, if we don't have so many adulterated medications, how much at risk are we without this law?
Oh, we are so much at a great risk. You are talking about adulteration. You are not talking about the side of drug abuse. I tell you what drug abuse is doing. Today, people are talking about Boko Haram. But I tell you what drug abuse does in Nigeria is more. The emergency, the security emergency of drug abuse is more than what Boko Haram can do. It's more than what bandit can do, which is the reason why this law must be passed. But let me also say that I'm happy to tell you and to inform you, because we are monitoring. And as an association, when we came out last 2 weeks to ventilate and tell people to create awareness, I'm happy to let you to inform you that last night I got an information from one of the persons that my president just mentioned here, Buba Marwa, because I have to tell you, we're following him up, because it's also very central to this, that this law, at the point was actually declared missing, but it has been found. And as we speak, it's gone back to National Assembly. So we are hoping that National Assembly will correct whatever has been left and bring it back to President as soon as he comes tomorrow. By Thursday, Friday, we want this bill signed to law so that Nigeria can enjoy.
Maybe you're following up. You follow the president too to know.
Yes, when it's coming. Yeah, that's it. Because we are very interested.
Mr. Samuel Habo is the president, Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, and Samuel Adekola is the national chairman, Association of Community Pharmacists of Nigeria. Thank you both for coming on.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Well, that is it today on the program. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm Chamberlain Oso.
I'm Gimba Umar.
I'm Ayo Makinde.
And I'm Malkwel Green Yusuf. Thank you.
The views and opinions expressed by guests on this program are those of the maker and do not reflect the views, opinions, and endorsement of Channels Television.